few months back. But perhaps the most bizarre example of vote tabulation anomalies and intrigues occurred during 2020 elections in Guyana, a Commonwealth country, South Africa. Because of a spate of controversies over the vote tabulation and the attendant resort to court intervention, it took 5 months from the day the elections were held for the final results.
Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan is a former chairman of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Now, the director of electoral elections services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Serebo Kweku, speaking at the same event, insisted the commission is committed to making the Ghana card the sole source document for voter registration.
We are satisfied that we have addressed the impersonation to a large extent. We have addressed the multiple registration, multiple voting to a large extent. But how do we address the registration of minors and the registration of foreigners? I believe the politicians will have that. Because most of them are not, they are those who will infringe that reporting, and they will end up accusing the commission of having registered minors. So, Mr. People but let us not think that one way of addressing it is to use the Ghana card. And there have been a lot of arguments. They are still battling it out. And we are still insistent that let us use the Ghana card so that we address the issue of minors. Because we are great on that is on the card. And the citizenship is also on the card. So that is also the way we reduce that the registration of minors and foreigners.
Dr. Serebo Kweku is the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission of Ghana.
Now, a group calling itself the Single Man Contractors of Ghana has expressed disappointment in the Ministry of Roads and Highways in the delay in payment of monies for work done 4 years ago. Members of the group are individual contractors in charge of weeding road medians, desilting public drains, and other auxiliary works. 3 weeks ago, some members of the group besieged the Roads and Highways Ministry to demand a payment road plan for service rendered to the ministry. However, all efforts to have government settle the debts proved futile. Speaking to Citi News, the vice chairman of the group, Samuel Kwesi Bochi, says his members will not back down on efforts to have their concerns addressed.
We are highly disappointed in him, Honorable Amakwata, and the directors of Highways Authority because they do give us the job to do. Our contracts are being signed by them. So at least if the minister is not doing anything, they have to push the minister too. But when you go there, we petition the highways engineers, the directors, the CEO. There's no officer we have not contacted or petitioned. We have done everything. They don't mind. Instead of them to at least push the minister, talk to the minister, they won't mind. That is what they've been doing. Now that we've not heard from them, we'll wait for maybe this week to pass. Then we'll go around the table, sit down, and plan on the next action we have to take. It is our money. This is a pre-finance contract. We used our monies to work. Either I'm talking to you, I have to empty my accounts to pay my workers. Well, you know, these workers, when they come to your house, they can be rude. And then I'm here, sitting down here. Even if I'm about to eat, I have to think before, because I have children that are coming home to eat. What if I eat and my money gets finished? So please, they should have pity, at least have pity on us.
Samuel Kwesi Bochi is the vice chairman of the Single Man Contractors of Ghana.
Now, Ghana is developing a policy framework on the extraction of lithium to ensure a retention of a significant portion of the value chain before exploitation of the mineral begins. Now, the country is seeking to explore its lithium deposits as the world transitions to green energy. Lithium is the mineral used in making batteries for electric vehicles. Over the years, Ghana has only exported its minerals in their raw state, leaving the country shortchanged. However, with the exploration of lithium, Ghana is determined to reverse the trend and benefit the most with local value addition. Speaking at the Bloomberg New Economy Africa Forum, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor, said government is putting together a policy framework on lithium exploration before inviting foreign partners.
Over the years, the truth is that we've not positioned our economies and the industry in a manner where we will benefit optimally. Yeah. Now, in Ghana, we have a completely different paradigm shift. We have a paradigm shift where we've jettisoned the age-old regime of the exportation of raw materials, raw minerals. From 2017, our president, President Akufo-Addo, has come up with a new policy framework, which is meant that we are taking systematic steps to retain the highest end of the value chain in our country. I think it's always important when we discuss this to be realistic. Yep. It cannot happen overnight. From 11 billion to 7 trillion, yep, you have to accept your realities, yep, and you have to accept the challenges you have to overcome to be able to ultimately reach the highest end of the value chain. But it takes a couple of interventions, in my view. One is policy. You have to put in place the policy framework, which is why the president, for example, through various acts of parliament, have put in place this framework, which is meant, for example, that in the case of bauxite, we've passed a law which indicates that within a certain period of time, you cannot export that resource in its raw form. Mm. We've done same for iron ore, the very much sought after lithium, which is very important for the green energy transition. We have a policy before the cabinet, as I speak to you now, which is going to ensure that we retain not the highest end. I don't think we can retain the highest end at this time, but at least retain a significant proportion of the value chain in country. That is number one. Number two.
So, Minister, just to confirm, Ghana is planning a policy to retain value for lithium.
That is correct. And as I said, the policy is before the cabinet now. The cabinet is expected to discuss it at its next meeting on the 29th. We are not committing ourselves to lithium in any form or shape. The idea is that we should put in place the policy first, okay, and announce it to the international investor community. So everybody knows, if you are coming to Ghana to partner with the Ghanaian people and their government in the exploitation of our lithium resources or green minerals generally, this is our policy. Indeed. And at the heart of that policy is to say that as much as possible, we retain a significant proportion of the value chain.
Meanwhile, the minister admitted that despite government's effort to stop galamsey, it has become a difficult problem to deal with.
In Ghana, we have been very determined to adhere to the highest standards of ESGs, the environmental, social, and governance principles. And we take that very seriously. And so every aspect of the industry, we keep an eye on working to ensure that we promote the highest standards of ESGs. As you know, the SDGs enjoins us to develop sustainably. So whatever we do with our minerals and its exploitation, we need to ensure that we adhere to sustainability. A lot of measures have been put in place. I must admit, though, that we have real challenges on the ground, particularly in the area of artisanal small-scale mining. We still have difficulties. In Ghana, we call it galamsey. It's a big issue for us. The government is trying to tackle it. We've not reached where we should be, but we are making the effort, and we are determined and confident that we'll be able to resolve that particular issue.
Maybe I'll probably put you on the spot there. What are some of the measures the government are working on in terms of addressing the artisanal challenges there?
Oh, a host of them, but fundamentally hinged on two policy pillars. One is reformation, which is reforming the sector, licensing regime, getting them equipment for the extraction of the gold from the ore without the use of mercury. As you know, we are parties to the Minamata Convention, and therefore we respect the dictates of the Minamata Convention. And then the enforcement regime, deploying law enforcement to make sure that people are arrested and so on and so on. So we're making that effort.
So you heard there the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor, speaking at the Bloomberg New Economic Forum.
This is still the Citi Prime News, live from our studios at Adabaka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, National Disaster Management Organization sent relief items to communities in Ketu South, Keta, and Anglo following floods that rendered some residents homeless. We'll bring you details of the story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
The biggest business festival in Ghana is on. Mark your calendars this June as we bring you the Citi Business Festival 2023. The running theme for this year's festival is Make It Ghana. It's going to be a month-long conversation on how to grow, improve, and expand your business with seasoned industry experts. Join the weekly business forum every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. live on Citi TV for discussions on various thematic areas each week, beginning with Week 1, reimagining the digital economy. Week 2, building resilient SME brands. Week 3, the changing phase of the Ghanaian retail market. And Week 4, understanding and leveraging agribusiness value chains. Also, tune in every weekday at 9:05 a.m. for the Citi Business Festival on-air series on the Citi Breakfast Show on 97.3 Citi FM to acquire the information you need to kickstart and strengthen your business. There will be a lesson for every business on the Citi Business Festival 2023 this June, only on Citi TV, 97.3 Citi FM, citibusinessnews.com, and on CNR Digital. The Citi Business Festival 2023 is powered by Citi TV and Citi FM and is proudly sponsored by MTN.
Hello.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, stakeholders in the tech industry are urging corporate bodies in the country to leverage artificial intelligence (AI) to enhance their competitiveness in the globalized marketplace. This call comes on the back of the rapidly evolving landscape where AI technologies have proven to be instrumental in transforming businesses worldwide. Speaking to Citi News, the Chief Executive Officer of Web and Software, Philip Game, highlighted the importance of adopting AI for corporate bodies. Game emphasized that AI offers immense potential for businesses to compete effectively in the global market.
You recently saw Elon Musk advocacy about halting the AI innovation. I felt that was very disingenuous because the man is smart. Whilst people stopped, he would have his R&D, forging ahead and building AI. Nobody should relax. And Ghana should not be caught in this noise and buzz. They are just creating it to channel the discussions in a separate direction. Ghanaians must immediately, corporate Ghana must begin to think about ways to adopt this to improve productivity levels to a great extent. It has the ability to exponentially increase the productivity of everyone. We say it equalizes the intelligence curve. So we are inviting all companies to start the conversations. To make the most of the relationship with AI, companies should not be caught in the examples of robotics and limit themselves to automation.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of Web and Solutions, Philip Game.
Let's take you to the Volta region now because the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has sent some relief items to the 3 traditional areas affected by floods. The relief items delivered in 2 trucks include blankets, life jackets, and assorted food items. Meanwhile, as the flood water began to recede, the rains have started falling again in the area, which may compound the problem. Citi News' Benjamin Aklama has more in the following report.
The floodwater levels in the Ketu South municipality are just beginning to recede. Meanwhile, the rains have started coming once again. The National Disaster Management Organization has come to the aid of the constituents with some food and non-food relief items to help alleviate their plight. The residents are worried that the continuous rain would mean more devastation for their homes. Cody?
Afik Baraga.
Dokale.
Oh, Miss Vanajak. Bobio. Nato. Me kuma poko.
Yeah, a chiava de me. Like me, management.
Aure, I'm talking to you. Me ba chit do ma. Me man yanka o kami ala.
Pero un kemi afia.
Me yana blick plan ni mianami. Na mi ga chuho na mi ha mi anuma. Ni plak pa kuna mi soji. Na mi anto mi kponu ike. Mi avia chola togodo. Ya ji avadu na mi machu na mi anto mi aji mi avadu.
Via obochi aro ko tema mi via if you gata ya jare like na kwero.
Ka ba rafuna mi. Rafuna mi nto. Chon din dia mi adogo eji kwa mi na. Na fashion mo po wan se dia ma igo. La vio ina so kun dia ma yo wa kun ma ha bodo yo. A drable por mi jaklo na fu kujo chercher fo fio ko voiture ha. Do ve pli na mo konta na butore la ko ge. Ta o furara. Na nkare jona su kwa shisha akloto ho gba. Afutobo no konta na yo. Ta mi ajo chi todo mo nya na ma gara shi nyo amara to na pe ko ka to nyema.
Via nad moto ko na no ve na mi, o gbona ngo magana mi like na kpochun.
O mo ko ga na mi ma nya shi ko ho magalore.
Ngoli la assembly agbo ko ga ve na mi.
Assembly ka.
Ala kata kpala ya kachi South Assembly agbo.
Ta akko ga mi tututu a. Mi a chofio mi de jomo mi on mi aruolo. Ko nru akko ga mi tututu o. O ka mi ashia. Akpa. Ka mi hia no ko vi na mi lo.
So effectively, the woman is saying that they have been greatly impacted by the flood waters. It's difficult to assess their livelihoods. Moving across the flooded areas now costs them 1 cedi per move to and fro. And that would mean 2 cedis if you just have to go up and down where they normally would have just walked across. They are saying that has brought a lot of difficulty to them and their children are hungry at home. I told her about the relief items NADMO has brought, and she was curious to find out if truly those things would get to them and get to their homes to help them to alleviate their plights.
And Richard Achugogan. Malona for her, Evaganya Cabenta.
Achivare mi like na rokyo management.
Yeah, achivada mi miama fo mo family odo mi akhode khongu de ke ya ma hiaba mo to amana na no mo ka ka fle fe khongu de ke ya miama mo ma akhongu de ke kra mi le ma ba miama andre miama nyi ma wo ko miam van la ba mi anyi mlo fofon na mi mlo nyanyi ma didi nda mo mi la fu papa ma ndudu achida mi apa ngo mi sofa la agbozuma anyi gbaji alaka gbagba ta government mi ji bana ta okpere mi ala bana ta mi dogola fu pepe o me ta government na ororo ku do mi che ga jajan fie mi manya leke kaka zana do ga no na mi o ro ma hie fie o mi lo ami o gbon ve baro ro ma hie che na ga ja fie ka ma ha ma ga nya no na mi o ta government na ororo ku do mi ta
yo bo yoko na no ve ngo la assembly o gba na ko ga na mi re nya kila shi na government
fine ma ta pa anwo fana mi da fie o garo ma kaka mi makpona re ko mi o ba juma vi onya nyere ka ba mare ka nya ma vasan because achia de mi pa mi makpona na ka fie mu video kra ko mosquito net mi makpo mi azan la fie ta mi ma nyen ka chuchu ejojo mu ta mi da vi o kon free kaka this yo mo na na kon fie mi global assembly mo na na ka mu ta mi so fan le ka gbagba odi achia ga jajan ta ma ko ava mi ta government na una kurang na mi ngova jwa ma mi makpo ni na ta pa ma ukla gbaton kwa mi makpo na ko ta na nya ba jirudu agbo china ro assembly mo china ka no ro kurang na mi lo ma da pa.
So effectively he's saying that he's happy that some help has come, yet normally when things like this occur and help is announced to have come to the community, they barely even see of it or hear of it. So they are hoping that this time the help will truly reach them. He's also worried that the rains that are still coming, he does not know what their fate will be by close of day. He says that rooms that about 2 or 3 people should normally inhabit is being inhabited by about 8 to 10 people, and they're already being crowded in smaller rooms. And he's worried that probably by close of day, should these rains continue, they might have to even move from where they are lodging now because those areas might also get flooded. Meanwhile, parts of the Agbozima community have had to live without electricity for at least the past 5 days because, as you can see behind me, the pylons, the poles of the pylons have been distracted by the floodwaters, and they are just bending and the lines sagging, almost getting into the floodwaters, creating a very dangerous situation here in the community. And so the Electricity Company of Ghana has disconnected the community for the time being. As you can see far behind me, those are ECG staff trying to see what best to do to rectify the situation. The National Director of NADMO, Nana Ajiman Prempe, has urged the Assembly to do due diligence in distributing the items.
Only the disaster victims. Please, let's ensure that. And let's ensure, as heads of district security here, let's ensure that none of these items find their ways in the market.
Yes, please.
Like what happened last time, they were complaining that people were selling some of our things. Some people find a way to come and take some in the West. They are not for sale. They are to help them. And for these life jackets, there are so many communities. We've been giving it out. Let's ensure that the communities, people use boats and canoes and other things. There are some students who crosses the rivers and other things, the lagoons to school and other things. Life jackets must be used so that we don't experience what we've been hearing from other communities in the country. So on behalf of government and NADMO, we are presenting these items to you. I know after this, the MMDCs, the district directors and the regional director of NADMO will meet and discuss how to distribute it to affected victims.
Reporting for Citi News, my name is Benjamin Aklama.
Now, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum has given government until Wednesday, June 21, to settle all outstanding coupon and principal payment or risk the group resuming picketing at the Finance Ministry. Government and the pensioners agreed on a 2-week period to allow for the payment of the coupons and principals following weeks of protest. Although government has paid some coupons and principals, convener of the group, Dr. Edu Anani Entry, in a Citi News interview said the pensioner bondholders may return to the ministry if nothing is done.
They have said they were going to pay the coupons up to 29th May, and at the meeting they told us they have told the Accountant General to prioritize the payment of our coupons after the 29th one. So that means those that are maturing or becoming due in June, at the time we were talking, they were going to prioritize that. So we take it that they were not going to let the subsequent one delay. So by close of day tomorrow, we will see which ones have not been paid. If they have paid all the May ones, we will again look into whether the June ones has been paid. If the June ones have not been paid, we will give government again next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If by Wednesday there is any coupon or principal outstanding, our picketing would go on.
Dr. Entry also says, depending on the response of Finance Ministry to a letter demanding interest payments on the principals, the group will petition SHRAJ in the coming weeks.
Well, we have written to government demanding interest on the delayed payment. We are waiting for government response. It is the response that will decide, will let us know what to do next.
That was the convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edu Anani Entry.
We do more stories now, and the Asante Hene Otumfo Situtu II has intervened to address the long-standing chieftaincy dispute in Boko in the Upper East region. The Asante Hene revealed that he has so far invited the feuding factions and has started engaging them on how best to resolve the conflict. Speaking at the Menchia Palace during a courtesy call on him by the chieftaincy minister, the Asante Hene expressed optimism in finding solutions to the conflict, which has claimed many lives and properties. Our Ashanti regional correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim has more.
Over the years, Boko has been experiencing recurring chieftaincy clashes. Despite efforts by stakeholders, the conflict in the area has not seen significant decline, and as such, the security in the area has been threatened. The conflicts have led to loss of lives and several properties have been destroyed in the process. There appears to be a glimmer of hope as the overlord of the Ashanti region has taken steps to intervene in bringing finality to the issues in the area.
I have so far started engaging all the feuding factions in relation to the Boko conflict. I have been listening to all parties as part of processes to get the matter resolved. I've also been speaking to key stakeholders involved. They have also furnished me with necessary documentations. Once we keep interrogating all parties involved, we'll be able to bring finality to the issue. I've asked all of them to approach this issue with the highest form of honesty to help us resolve the issue, and that they should stop using the weapons.
The Asantehene made the statement when the new Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, paid a courtesy call on him at the Mensa Palace, where the minister expressed major worry over the numerous chieftaincy clashes across the country. Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng expressed excitement over the Asantehene's efforts in addressing the conflict. The minister believes politicians are not best placed to resolve chieftaincy-related conflicts, and as such, the Asantehene's intervention is a refreshing one.
Yes, I am looking for peace within the paramountcies, the divisional chiefs or divisional councils, and the regional House of Chiefs and the national. So the number of disputes that are ongoing is worrying to me and to the government. If you've heard me say that about 70% of the national security issues are mostly chieftaincy problems, 70%. And the money and the resource we are pumping into these areas is incredible. I've seen bills that we send police officers to go and separate the warring factions, and the bills that come after they've left. It's incredible. These are money that we could use to develop and help the youth mostly. So we want to bring down the disputes, the number of disputes drastically. So I have segregated them into the short term, and the medium, and the long term. There are some which are long term, and the dispute has gone on for so long. The others that we can nib it in the bud very quickly, and then we have peace. So for Tumfor to take over, especially Boko, for us as a government, we are very, very happy. The president has given the go-ahead, and I have also been supportive. And for today, publicly, has even told us how he's met the factions. And at some of the meetings, he will call me to witness what's going on. But we leave it to him. He has the wisdom, he has the knowledge, he understands the issues so well. And he has the capacity to bring the warring factions. I'm very happy. It's taking the pressure off the government a bit, and off my shoulders as well. And I trust he can bring peace to Boko. So we work together, but mostly it is the Otumfor who has to handle it. This is a customary chieftaincy, our values, and politicians are not the best to handle. It's the chiefs who can handle themselves, and who better than Otumfor, the Asantehene.
The minister has also served notice that he will spearhead the agenda of ensuring that the chieftaincy laws in the country are amended. According to the minister, he's working to ensure that the laws are amended to give power to chiefs to handle some issues without necessarily referring them to the central government. The minister is also advocating for the codification of the line of succession, where persons who are next in line to lead as chiefs will be easily identified to prevent the numerous chieftaincy disputes.
Number one, to strengthen the chieftaincy institution is to look at the laws that cover the chieftaincy institutions. And so that is the Chieftaincy Act 2008. Act 759 needs some amendment. It was passed in 2008, so it's about 15 years down the line. Modern developments means that we need to look at it again. And particularly, I am interested to deepen the power of the chiefs so that they can handle some issues that doesn't have to come to central government. For instance, where a chief summons a citizen to their palace and they refuse to go. I mean, how? In the past, you dare not, but we have mixed the modern democracy, and people will go to court. A chief shouldn't go to court to summon somebody. They must have the power to do that. And I'm interested to make sure that that power is in the act amended. Then another strategy that we can use to bring peace into the chieftaincy institution is the codification of lines of succession.
And Otumfo mentioned it. If it's a matrilineal, we know it's a mother. The mother's children, they are there. I mean, you can recount. You can go back to your grandmother. If you can't do that, you can't be a chief.
The Asantehene Otumfo Osei II has taken steps to liaise with the Chieftaincy Ministry to help address the conflicts within Boko and other areas. For News, Fatih Aminu Ibrahim, Menshia Palace, Ashanti Region.
We'll stay a little while longer on the issue of chieftaincy because the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area, Neiri Na Mahami Buhagu Sheriga, has described the recent communal disturbances at Lukula in the Savannah region as unfortunate and unnecessary. He expressed concern over the problems the disturbances may have upon the long-standing relationship between the Mamprusis and the Gunjas. In an effort to restore lasting peace in the area, the overlord urged the security agencies to diligently pursue and apprehend the individuals responsible for the disturbances. The Neiri conveyed these sentiments during the inaugural session of the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs meeting held in Nalerigo.
Lives of officials working tirelessly in the cause of the region and of the lives of the people of the entire Northeast region. Through your efforts, the region has enjoyed relative peace over the years, except the recent skirmishes at Lukula. I firmly stand by my concern on the conflict at Lukula and reiterate the call for calm by all citizens in the Savannah and Northeast region. I once again want to repeat emphatically that the conflict that ensued between the Gonjas and the Mamprusis was unfortunate, uncalled for, and a scar on the long-standing peaceful relationship that had existed between the two ethnic groups.
The overlord of Mamprugu also emphasized the need for amending the current Chieftaincy Act of 2008, which categorizes him as a paramount chief.
It is important to also remind all seated here, ladies and gentlemen, that the institution of chieftaincy is an intrinsic part of us. It is relevant for our development and forever shall be relevant for our development. There is a need to preserve our cultural heritage by ensuring that the institution is strengthened and documentation on same is embedded and well preserved for the generation yet unborn. As a means of ensuring security of our customs, traditions, and cultural heritage, we need to translate the original and real identities of chiefs into our laws and instruments. By so doing, the integral part of ourselves, that is our identity, is preserved and protected. It is for this reason that I call on the relevant stakeholders, that is the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the National House of Chiefs, the Attorney General Department, and the Parliament of Ghana to take steps to amend the current Chieftaincy Act of 2008, Act 759, especially sections that categorizes the chiefs to place the Nairi skin at its proper category. It does not sound to reason that the Nairi, who has the authority to enskin paramount chiefs, is himself categorized as a paramount chief in the current Chieftaincy Act.
You heard that the overlord of Mamprugu traditional area, Neiri Na Mahami Buhagu Sheriga. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News on Citi 97.3 FM, broadcasting live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. I'm Wilma Ubobisa Coleman with Kweku Adriama Ansa. Still ahead in the bulletin, Pharmacy Council, together with the Ghana Police Service and the Food and Drugs Authority, arrest 12 persons suspected to be engaging in illegal sale of unlicensed medicines and aphrodisiacs. We'll bring you details of the story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
After a keenly competitive audition, we finally have our top 10 contestants for The Voice Factory Season 5, and they are A.G. Wilson, Riguello, Cleos, Ernest, Bella, Jeriel, CLOB, Titi, Princess, Serum. For the next 13 weeks, the city will come alive as we bring to your screens live performances of Season 5 of The Voice Factory every Saturday. Tune into City TV at 6:30 p.m. to witness how raw talents are transformed into superstars. The Voice Factory Season 5 is powered by City TV with support from 97.3 City FM and proudly sponsored by Ebony Condoms, Nalo Solutions, Eddie's Pizza, McBerry Twist Cupcakes, and Copen Hospitality.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Throughout all life-changing moments such as graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, ATL is there to ensure you're never out of style. When you think fabric, think ATL. Log on to atlfabrics.com. Order and buy your favorite ATL fabric. You can also visit our shop at number 40 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, opposite the Swansea Shopping Arcade at Accra Central. Also available in leading fabric dealer shops in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. A tripartite team made up of the Pharmacy Council, the Ghana Police Service, and the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has apprehended 12 individuals suspected to be involved in the illegal sale of unlicensed medicines and aphrodisiacs. The arrest took place at various locations near the Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra. City News' Daniel Odrum-Mensah provides more details in this report and read by Emmanuel Opong.
Following City News' special report on the activities of unlicensed medical retailers, commonly known as drug peddlers, conducted on April 29, 2023, the Pharmacy Council took decisive action by carrying out arrests at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange. Prior to this operation, the Pharmacy Council had cautioned pharmaceutical product wholesalers and licensed medical retailers against engaging with illegal peddlers. On Wednesday, a tripartite team consisting of the Pharmacy Council, the Ghana Police Service, and the FDA apprehended 12 suspects involved in the sale of illegal medicines and aphrodisiacs. The team strategized at the council before proceeding to the VIP station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange to carry out the operation. Acting as buyers, the team made purchases from the peddlers and then apprehended them. While some of the peddlers managed to flee, leaving their wares behind, others were caught in the act. One of the peddlers attempted to escape but was ultimately apprehended. The arrested suspects have been identified as Philemon Nado, Sarah Ofori, Henry J. Lindo Drew, Kwame Frempong, Godfred Kabuja, Janet Adum, Mary Boafo, Ejiri Pada Spy, Sarah Boafo, Betty Nkrumah, and Nanesi. William Ruteman, head of intelligence gathering and enforcement at the Pharmacy Council, stated that the arrested suspect will face prosecution.
A few months ago, I granted an interview to City FM or City TV and the other media stations. I promised them that drug peddlers will be arrested and prosecuted. So today, we are just fulfilling the promise that we made on that day. We went to Circle, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, specifically VIP, where we have these peddlers. They have transparent plastics, and then there are medicines in them they sell to the general public. The other one is at one of the stations where people sell aphrodisiacs to the drivers and other unsuspecting people. Today, we have teamed up with the police, the FDA, and we have arrested most of them. We are taking them, we've taken some inventory, we are taking them to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command. Their statements will be taken, and then we will follow up.
That report was filed by Citi News' Daniel Odrum-Mensah and read by Emmanuel Opong.
Now, a governance analyst, Dr. Eric Ujose, is advising the Electoral Commission, the EC, to publish the 2023 district level election early enough to whip up interest. He said, considering the low turnout experienced in the past, many forecasters had predicted that the 2023 district level elections might not receive more than 35% without the necessary publicity. The Electoral Commission has set October 3, 2023 for this year's district level elections per its scheduled activities. The EC, however, says the date is subject to change depending on the approval of the proposed CI by Parliament. In a statement, Dr. Osai said the government must intensify sensitization and awareness among citizens, stating that civil society organizations, opinion leaders, and traditional authorities must take a keen interest in it.
Now, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, wants government to ensure the recent rise in inflation rate is reversed. Inflation went up for the first time this year, rising from 41% in April to 42.2% in May after declining for 4 times. In an interview with Citi News, Dr. Joseph Obing said though the increase will not have any significant impact on the business community, more needs to be done to ensure that the trend is not sustained.
The increment of utility bills, the increase in the utility bills and all that has also add up to cost of doing business. And that's why we couldn't get any monetary policy rate is still at where it is, meaning that cost of doing business is still very high. That's why we couldn't see any, reduce the inflation rate. And it's very unfortunate because we are thinking that after receiving the IMF money and then the program having come successfully, the initial positive speculations that came and all that, the confidence that have been built up was going to see to the other indicators also following suit, like the exchange rate, the inflation, and then the interest rate. And all of these indicators have not improved since we clinched the IMF deal. It's a marginal increase in inflation. I don't think it will have any adverse increase in prices. It's very marginal and negligible.
You heard the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obing.
Now, collaboration among African leaders and joint military training exercises have been identified as critical measures to addressing the threat of violent extremism in the sub-Saharan Africa. Now, this was one of the highlights at this year's exercise, Africa Lion, which concluded with a simulation exercise on neutralizing a terrorist attack. The exercise took place at the Daboya military training camp in the Savannah region, from where Dinah Ngwan sent this report.
From a distance, it appears real, but don't be deceived. What you are witnessing is a counter-terrorist simulation exercise conducted by a joint military task force comprising personnel from Ghana and U.S. Africa commands. This exercise, held at the Daboya military training camp, is part of Exercise Africa Lion, a series of exercises aimed at enhancing regional security and strengthening self-reliance of Africa partners in ensuring their own security. Currently, Africa is facing 2,000 armed conflicts with adverse consequences for its citizens. In his address to the military personnel following the exercise, the commander of the U.S. Army Southeastern European Task Force Africa emphasized that the current threats required well-trained forces working collectively.
African Lion improves our collective ability to confront an increasingly dangerous and an increasingly unpredictable world. The cornerstone of this exercise is interoperability and relationships. That's why I start by talking about our friends. In Ghana, we conducted joint and combined training and operational planning, small unit tactics, medical engagements, and civil military humanitarian actions. Each activity has enhanced our interoperability, they have enhanced our readiness, and they have enhanced our friendships. Each activity has demonstrated for all to see our cohesion, our resolve, and our shared commitment to security in Africa.
Major General Thomas Opompepra, the Chief of Army Staff of the Ghana Army, praised the personnel for their dedication and urged leaders to deepen their collaboration in order to combat emerging threats.
In order to fight emerging threats, there's the need for collaboration, there's the need for jointness, there's the need for unity. And I can see from the crowd a mix of Americans, Ghanaians, Beninois, Ivorians, and so on and so forth. It tells you how we have to deal with emerging threats. No country can do it alone. So joint operations, joint collaboration have all come to stay.
Africa Lion 2023 involves the participation of 18 nations and approximately 8,000 personnel. It is the largest annual combined joint exercise led by the U.S. Africa Command, simultaneously taking place in Ghana, Morocco, and Tunisia.
So you had their report filed by City News' Northern Regional Correspondent Dinah Angwan.
This is still the Citi Prime News, live from our studios at Adaraka in Accra. Now, some stories we've been bringing you. The Human Rights Division of the High Court has restrained Special Prosecutor from arresting former Secretary of the defunct Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissiou, following an application by his lawyers. We also had the former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwejo Afarijan, who is tipping coalition centers as most vulnerable points for election manipulation. Also, we went to the Ashanti region where motorists in Kumasi, they have renewed calls for government to hasten processes to complete works on the Swami interchange project. We also had the National Disaster Management Organization, and they have begun distributing relief items to communities in Ketu South, Keta, and Anlo following floods that rendered some residents homeless. Well, we're also live on our affiliate stations across the country. In the Western region, we're on Premier FM 100.5 and Beach 105.5 in Takoradi. We're on Greener FM on 95.9 in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, you listen to us on Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Akpene Radio 96.7 in Bandu. We are also live on Heritage FM 107.3 in Hohoi. In the northern region, we are on Dasuma 99.1 in Yendi. In the Upper East, we're on Word FM 88.3 in Zuarungu. In the Upper West, we're on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. And in the Northeast, we're on Eagle FM 94.1 in Wale Wale. Well, that's all time would allow us for on today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, do also log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obobi Sakoman, and I did this with
Kweku Ediamansa.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News. Many thanks for doing the listening, and do have a good afternoon.
Citi